Sikandar Sahab, I would like to speak to you. He was in the lounge reading the newspaper when the maid approached him hesitantly. Yes, what is it? Do you need money? He replied while reading. He was generous with his servants. No, sir, it's not that. There's something else I need to tell you. Then say so. He was still absorbed in the newspaper. Nasira was worried. After much consideration, she had decided to tell Sikandar Usman about Salar and Imama because the matter was getting very complicated. She did not want that, sooner or later, her role as a go-between should be discovered and that she and her family be hauled up before the police for being accomplices. She discussed the situation with her husband and decided to confess all to Sikandar Usman. She needed the backing of at least one of the two families involved. Why don't you speak? Sikandar asked her, eyes fixed on the paper. After a long pause, she said, Sir, I want to tell you about Salar Sab. About Salar? What do you want to say about him? Sikandar put down the paper on the table and looked at her. He was serious now. I have to tell you some things about Salar Sab and Imama Bibi. Sikandar's heart took a somersault. What about them? Many days ago, Salar Sab gave me his mobile phone and told me to send it to Imama Bibi through my daughter. Sikandar Usman was rooted to the spot. So Hashim Mubin's persistence and his worst suspicions were well-founded. Then, it seemed to him as if his own voice came from some distant cavern. I refused, saying I couldn't do this, but he threatened me. He said he'd have me thrown out, so I was forced to agree and get the mobile to Imama Bibi. To protect herself, Nasira added lies to her statement. Then, some days later, he gave me some papers to be given to Imama Bibi and brought back to him at once. So I gave them to my daughter and did as he had instructed. I asked him what those papers were because there were 5 people present in his room at that time and one of them was a Maulvi. Sikandar Usman broke out into a cold sweat as she divulged these details. How long ago did this happen? He inquired. A few days before Imama Bibi went away. Why didn't you tell us all this earlier? He said sternly. Sir, I was very frightened. Salar Sahab had threatened me that if I told you or anyone else, he would have me thrown out, she replied. Who were those people in the room? Do you know any one of them? Can you recognize them? Sikandar Usman was very agitated. Only one, sir. Hassan Sahab. He named one of Salar's friends. I don't know who the others were. I was very worried, sir. I wanted to tell you, but I was afraid of what you'd think of me. But I couldn't keep this to myself anymore. Who else knows of this besides you? He asked. Only myself, my husband and my daughter, sir, she said quickly. Do any of the other servants know anything? May Allah forgive me, sir. Why would I let anyone else know? I haven't told a soul. I will deal with whatever you have done later, but get this straight. You will not breathe a word of this to anyone. Keep your mouth shut for all the times, otherwise not only will you be thrown out, but I will tell Hashim Mubin and the police that you were behind all this business. You led them astray, you carried messages back and forth. Then think of what the police can do to you and your family. You all will spend your entire lives in jail. Sikandar threatened her in a fit of rage. No, sir, never. Cut out my tongue if I ever breathe a word about this again. Nasira was petrified. That's enough. You can go now. I'll talk to you later. Sikandar curtly dismissed her. He began pacing up and down in a state of anxiety. The heavens had indeed fallen upon him. For the first time he was aware that he and his family had been fooled by Salar. He had been brazenly lying to them time and again with absolute cussedmiff and deceit. He had been cheating them with impunity and so smoothly that they never suspected him. Had it not been for the maid, they would have taken his word for it and been content that he had nothing to do with Imama and her disappearance. Salar had resumed his classes at college after a few days of incarceration at home. His father knew that a watch was being kept on Salar and what it would mean when Hashim Mubin came to know the details. He knew this too well. The relief he had earlier felt had evaporated. He had a good idea of the nature of those documents, of the presence of 5 people in Salar's room, and the nature of the relationship between Salar and Imama. At this point, he wanted to strangle him or shoot him, but he knew he could not do anything such because among his children, he loved Salar the most. Having been so deceived by him, Sikandar thought to himself that he would never trust Salar and would keep him in the dark about his plans, just as Salar had been doing with them. How did he get to know Imama? Sikandar Usman, pacing restlessly in his room, turned to Tayyaba. How should I know? He is not a child to be led around, she reacted with some annoyance. I had warned you more than once to keep an eye on him, but of course, if you can spare the time from your own activities.
It's not my responsibility alone to watch over him, Taiba burst out. You should also curtail your activities. Why blame me for everything? I'm not blaming you. And anyway, end this argument. Do you have any idea what this marriage with Imama means? Hashimuddin is going to play hell when he gets wind of this. I am still shocked. What led Salar to do such a thing? He gave no thought to our position in society. Sikandar was sitting with his wife, worrying about their problems with Salar. Hardly are we over with one problem, and he throws up another one at us. This business must have started last year when she saved him after that suicide attempt. It was our stupidity not to have paid attention, otherwise this could have been nipped in the bud. And I'm sure this girl has been involved in this affair of her own will. It's not so simple to go marry someone by force. Look at the way Hashimuddin is accusing Salar for all that's happened, as though his daughter's totally innocent. Taiba was all worked up again. Whatever it is, it's our son's fault. He'd not be in this mess if it weren't for his deeds, said Sikandar flatly. Now, you've got to find a way out of this. It's not as bad as you think, said Taiba. The police or Hashimuddin have no evidence as yet to frame Salar, and without evidence, they can't do anything. Have you thought about what happens when they get the evidence? What then? Sikandar Usman retorted. You are talking of possibilities, what ifs, but it has not happened, and maybe it won't either. Sikandar pondered over this. If he has deceived us to this extent, then perhaps another aspect of his deceit could be his not being in touch with the girl. Perhaps he is in touch with her. Perhaps. Then what do we do? If I speak to him, it'll be like hitting my head against the wall. He'll lie to me again. He's an expert liar. Sikandar's voice was filled with loathing. There are a few more months to go, to complete his BBA, and then I'll send him abroad. At least that will take care of our fears of what Hashimuddin can do to him. Sikandar pulled on his cigarette. But you're forgetting something, Sikandar, said Taiba seriously after a short silence. What's that? Sikandar sat up. Salar's secret marriage with Imama. You have to do whatever needs to be done about it. What else can one do except file for divorce? Sikandar spoke with finality. When he's not ready to accept the marriage, will he be ready to divorce her? When I show him the proof, he has no choice but to accept it. And what if he accepts that he married her but refuses to divorce her? We will have to find a way out, whether he divorces her of his own will or we force him to do so. I will put an end to this matter. Marriages like this are nothing but a permanent problem. This situation has to be ended once and for all. If not, I've decided to disinherit him completely. Hassan was at one of the Islamabad hotels when his father called him asking him to get home immediately. His tone was unusual, but Hassan did not pay heed. However, when he reached home shortly afterward, he was shocked to see Sikandar Usman's car on the porch. He could recognize all of Salar's cars by their make and registration numbers. Uncle Sikandar has no proof of my involvement in this business, so I needn't worry. He must have come because I'm Salar's friend and I could answer some of his questions. I'll do that very calmly and refute any allegations. My anxiety may make me suspect in my father's eyes, so I must not reveal anything when I meet Uncle Sikandar. Hassan had it all thought out and planned. He walked into the study, confident and composed. His father, Qasim Faruqi, and Sikandar Usman were having coffee. Hassan saw that their faces reflected unusual concern and seriousness. "How are you, Uncle Sikandar? You've come to our place after a long time." Sikandar and Qasim maintained their silence. There was no response to Hassan's cheery greeting, but he carried on casually. Sikandar Usman looked him up and down. "Sit down," Qasim said tersely. "Sikandar has some questions for you. You must answer correctly. If you lie, then Sikandar has my permission to take you to the police. As far as I'm concerned, you can go to hell. I'm not going to do anything to save you." Qasim Farooqi had come to the point immediately. "What are you talking about, Papa? I don't get it." Hassan tried to act surprised, but his heart was racing. The situation was not as straightforward as he imagined. "Don't try to be overly smart," his father rebuked him. "Sikandar, ask him whatever you want. I'll see how he dares to lie." "Did you attend Salar's marriage with Imama?" "Uncle, what marriage? Whose marriage?" Hassan behaved as if he was surprised. "The same wedding that took place in my house, in my absence, for which papers were sent to Imama." "Please, Uncle, you're accusing me. I do visit your house, but I don't know anything about Salar's wedding. As far as I know, he's not done any such thing. I don't even know the girl you're naming. Possibly Salar is involved with some girl, but I don't know about it. He doesn't tell me everything." Sikandar Usman and Qasim hurried him in silence. When he stopped speaking, Sikandar Usman picked up an envelope laying on the table before him and drew out some papers. Hassan's face went white. It was Imama and Salar's Nakanama, the marriage document. "Look at this carefully. These are your signatures, aren't they?" Sikandar asked coldly. Had Hassan not been questioned before his father, he would have flatly denied it, but now he was trapped. "It is my signature, but I did not sign this," Hassan stuttered. "Then who did this, Salar, or some spirit on your behalf?" Qasim asked, his tone dripping sarcasm. Hassan was speechless. He nervously looked at his inquisitors. He had never suspected for even a moment that Sikandar Usman would thus place the Nakanama papers before him. He didn't even know where he got those papers, from Salar, or all his cleverness and cunning had got him nowhere. "So you won't admit that Salar and Imama's Naka took place in your presence?" Qasim Farooqi interrogated Hassan. "Papa, I had no hand in this. It was all Salar's obstinacy. He forced me." Hassan suddenly decided to confess. There was no point in hiding anything, and lying would only weaken his position. "I tried to talk him out of this, but—" Qasim Farooqi cut him short. "This is no time to explain or justify. That's not what you've been called for. Just tell me where Salar has kept the girl." "Papa, I know nothing about that," Hassan said at once. "You're lying again." "I swear, Papa, I really do not know anything. He dropped her off in Lahore." "I don't believe this pack of lies. Just tell me the truth." His father spoke sharply. "I'm not lying, Papa," Hassan protested. "Where in Lahore did he drop her?" "On some road. She said she'd find her own way." "Do you think Sikandar and I are fools to believe that Salar would marry the girl, then drop her off on some road in Lahore? Don't try to fool us." Qasim Farooqi was furious. "I'm telling you the truth. At least that's what he told me, that he'd left her on some road in Lahore." "Didn't you ask him why he'd married her if this is what he did?" "Papa, he married her to help her out. Her family was forcing her to marry someone else against her will. She contacted Salar and asked for his help, and he agreed. She wanted Salar to marry her temporarily so she could use the Nikanama papers to refuse her parents if they insisted on forcing her." Hassan could no longer cover up the reality, and he decided to tell them whatever he knew. If she was held against her will by her parents, her release could be arranged through a bailiff. There's no question of a love marriage here because she's in love with someone else. If you read the Nikanama carefully, you'll see that she has retained the right of divorce so that she can file for it without even getting in touch with Salar. Is that it, or is there any more? Qasim Farooqi asked Hassan, who just looked at them quietly, without a word. "I do not believe a word of this nice little story you've made up. I'm not a child to swallow it. You have to help Sikandar Usman reach Imama," Qasim said in a final tone. "How can I do that, Papa, when I know nothing about her whereabouts?" "How? You have to find out. All I have to say is that you have to find her. Papa, please believe that I know nothing about Imama. I had nothing to do with this except to help Salar with the nikah. You were close enough to Salar to help him with the secret marriage, and now you say you don't know where his wife is after she ran away from home? I cannot buy this yarn, Qasim spoke curtly. Even if you don't know, you will have to find out. Ask Salar, he'll tell you. He keeps a lot of things from me, Papa. I'm not concerned with other things he may or may not tell you. All I want to know is where Imama is. Do whatever you need to do, but find out where she is. And do this without letting Salar know that Sikandar has knowledge of this secret wedding or that he has met you in this regard. If I learn that Salar has been told about this, then just remember what I will do with you. I've given Sikandar Usman permission to tell Hashim Mubin about you. Then it's up to Hashim Mubin to deal with you directly or through the police. It's your choice now, either to keep up your friendship with Salar or live in this house. Qasim Farooqi spoke with finality and determination. Papa, I will try somehow to find out about Imama. I'll talk to Salar without letting him know that Sikandar Usman has forced this out from me. Hassan spoke mechanically, parrot-like. This time he was trapped beyond his wildest dreams.